Hey, congratulations on this new horror film. We need to do something.
Thank you. You like it?
I do. I was telling the publicist that it was a trippy movie. I mean, it was
Yeah.
pretty intense. That's for
I say
certain.
bananas.
This is not your first go around with horror. So, what attracted you to something like this?
Well, I think that we were in the situation, we're shooting last fall, September, October of pre-election, pre-vaccines, where we were kind of locked into feeling for the first time in our lives that, I've always been able to say everything's going to be okay. And it was sort of, I was talking with Vanessa Shaw about it, like that we said, like, this is the first time, really, I was like, I'm not sure, and she has, a small child in real life, and I don't, but I certainly thought, I have nieces and a nephew and a family and people I love, and I just wasn't sure. So like when the script came, sometimes you just connect with something at the right time, and I think that was the anxiety that I was feeling, that most of us were feeling, frankly, I think was not hard to get at. And I think the movie is a good example of that, but it also was fun. It's as you say, it's kind of whacked out and crazy, and there's a lot of scary and intense and anxious things, but there's a lot of funny and fun, absurdist things. I mean, the whole situation is absurd. We're people trapped in a bathroom for God knows how long, and unable to get out. It has this kind of absurdist nature to it that I think I was in the right place with the anxiety, and then playing a character who's withdrawing from alcohol could get really big and outsized with it, and it suited this type of story, I think, to play this character who's losing his mind in a very big way.
How do you get in the headspace of Robert, or is this fun for you? Because Robert's not the most likable character, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, well, of course. I think I certainly understood the anxiety of feeling trapped and feeling not feeling uncertain. And I've done a lot of research, about alcoholism and what withdrawal is. And also, I think that a person who's in a situation where his wife is going to leave him, his kids don't like him, he has a dead end job, and he's an alcoholic, and then the alcohol gets taken away from him, and then perhaps the apocalypse is happening. So like, it's kind of like, it's a descent for him, but it's also kind of freeing in a way to just be like, well, nothing matters, so I'm just going to be my authentic self here, which is this, maniacal, crazy person. And that's very cathartic to me to play. I mean, I know that I'm not, it's a healthy way for me to get my whatever anger or rage I have inside myself out. It's a healthy environment to do it where no one's going to get hurt. We're just play pretending. So in that way, seemingly I don't relate to, him in many ways, but I could certainly relate to, I've been in situations where suddenly my whole life is falling apart and everybody and everything is pulling away from me. I've certainly been there, especially with the career path I've chosen at times. So you just sort of maybe substitute some things for some other things, and then you're feeling anxious about the world possibly ending too, because you don't know what's going to happen with this election, and you don't know what's going to happen. Are there going to be vaccines? Are they going to work? It's not that far of a leap. I suppose maybe it's not the best thing for me to say that it's not that far of a leap for me to play that kind of character, but I don't mean it in the sense of the anger or the hatred, but just in the sense of the acting out, being scared and acting out.
Well, don't curse us, but obviously, we know you're in real life, you're nowhere near that, Robert. But But there are some
No.
comedic moments in this film because there are very laughable moments because of their actions. And I'm just curious, what were you drinking when you had to gulp down an entire bottle of
Oh, I think it's just
alcohol?
colored water. I mean, we had to do it several times, so it's not that great to like, ingest all that liquid when you're shooting all day. But yeah, I think for me, if it were just serious and heavy, I wouldn't want to see a movie like that. So it has fun and funny things in it. It has levity to it. I mean, the whole situation is absurd, so it has to be. I think even the anger at some point is sort of clownish and comical, because he's just such a ridiculous person, and his family knows it, and it just makes him more mad. So while it gets dark, I wouldn't want people to think that it's not fun. It certainly is fun as well.
Is it enjoyable to get a project where you're basically on the same set, this bathroom throughout from the beginning to the end, or do you like a variety of sets, kind of like diverse environments?
It all depends. I mean, usually on smaller independent productions, the locations are less. That helps keep the budget down. In this case, just one location, and we were all under strict quarantine, so we were all staying in the same hotel, which was in the same parking lot as where the stage was in Southfield, Michigan. And also there's no distractions. I mean, we couldn't go out. We couldn't really even hang out with each other outside of that. So like there was something that's really great to just being in one place and being so myopically focused on one thing to get this movie done, that I really liked. I mean, I certainly am not happy about the COVID situation, but there's certain aspects of production, and I've done a few other things during this time, that takes away a lot of the distraction and the kind of BS about production. Everybody has to sort of like really get right down and do the work. And I like that. I've always been that kind of actor. So I like it. And it's, yeah, you don't have to like travel to all these different, I mean, where I am out now in Oklahoma, I mean, I have to either drive like 40 minutes or an hour and 10 minutes or an hour and a half to get to the locations that we're shooting in. So that's back and forth. So it adds some more time on your day. It's nice to just be able to roll out of bed, go next door, and just stay there for a month.
Terrific. Well, let me wrap it up with one more question with you, Pat.
Sure.
If you were Robert with the family stuck in the bathroom like that, because sometimes when I'm watching this film, I was like going, there has to be a way out. What would you would have done differently from Robert?
I mean, I just would like to think that if I thought the world was ending and my family was separating from me, I'd like to think that I wouldn't take the attitude of that nothing matters. I mean, I'm not a nihilist in that way. And I'd like to think that I would do the right thing and be, just try to make the situation as palatable as possible rather than, which is the exact opposite of what Robert does, I'm trying to get out of there. I mean, I think he does try, but he's ultimately kind of weak, not just spiritually, but physically as well. And they're all sort of looking to him to break things down, but it is impossible, In that way, the movie kind of exists on another plane that isn't strictly straight up realism, so to speak. It's taking license with an absurd sort of situation, and maybe it's more allegorical or metaphorical in that way. Plus all sort of being trapped in our own little spaces.
Most excellent. Well, hey, Pat, thank you for speaking to us about We Need to Do Something. It's a quite enjoyable film. It's going to be up there with a lot of cult horror hits, that's for sure.
I certainly hope so. Got my whole collection of them now.
Excellent. Next time, Pat.
Thanks, Keith. Bye-bye.